So now we're going to talk about our trade deadline losers.
I have two.
Okay, you have two. Who are your two teams?
I'm going to go first. I'm going to go Green Bay. And I say Green Bay because they didn't – this is going to end up biting them at the end of the year. They didn't go out and get a receiver. Green Bay has had the same problem for about 2-3 years now. You have one receiver, and the tight ends have been pretty good. They've been playing good. The running backs have also been playing pretty good in the passing attack. But I think you're going to need in the playoffs another guy outside of Davante Adams. You can't spam him forever. Not to mention, let's be realistic. Davante Adams hasn't played a full season consistently his whole career. He's been hurt a lot. So he isn't going to be – you need another guy out there. And my second pick would be the Houston Texans because they have all these guys, Brandon Cooks, Will Fuller. Like, it's time to rebuild. It's time to give it up. You have your quarterback for the future. He's going to have a couple seasons where he's going to have to just ride it out. But you have all this talent that you can trade away. You have all these assets that you could trade away and get picks from and get assets from, and you're just going to let them sit on your team. I think you could have went out there. You could have – Will Fuller, Packers were calling, and you deny it. I think Will Fuller, Brandon Cooks, all these guys, I think you could have traded them, got some assets, and could have been better for the future. They don't have a first-round pick this year either. So
or second.
Yeah, so Houston's you're essentially picking nothing. So I think those are the two losers for me.
I have three losers. I have the Packers are the first loser for me because they didn't get a receiver. I mean, you could have. Of course, the big name was Will Fuller.
Could have got somebody,
but I would have been good if the Packers went and got Dante Pettis. If they would have signed him off of waivers, even though the Giants claimed him first, I get that. But I would have traded something for Dante Pettis. I mean, he has talent. He was a former second-round pick. I would have seen what Aaron Rodgers could do with him. But, of course, Will Fuller was the sexy pick, right? That's who everybody wanted them to get.
What?
I mean, he was a sexy pick.
He's good.
He was a sexy pick. People wanted Green Bay to get Will Fuller.
Yeah, he's good, man.
But I say that because, like the Texans, they need to rebuild. They don't have any picks, a first round or a second one in this upcoming draft. So I think the Texans got too greedy. They wanted a second round pick for Will Fuller when they traded away their best receiver, Hopkins, for a second round pick.
Right.
Like, things just don't work that way. They should have bit the bullet and gotten like a fifth or a fourth for Will Fuller. I think Green Bay would have happily did that. I understand why Green Bay didn't trade for Will Fuller. It's because it would have been a rental. I mean, he would have had to do a 14-day quarantine, and they would have got him for like 6 games plus the playoffs, and he's injured, so you don't know what you're really getting.
He's always injured, yeah.
So it would have been a rental, and the wide receiver market this upcoming season, Will Fuller might get a big contract, and you can't pay him more than Davante Adams. So I understand the situation and why they didn't want to trade a second-round pick for Will Fuller. But the Texans should have never been so greedy and just asked for that. I think there should have been more stuff that they could have talked about. So that's why my losers are the Packers and the Texans. But another loser I have is the Patriots. Like, they're another team who needed a wide receiver. You need to help Cam out at least. And the most notable move they made at the trade deadline was trading for wide receiver Isaiah Ford.
Belichick said that they don't have much money. That's his report.
Yeah, they don't have much money, which is, I get why they didn't trade for one or a better one. But they traded for Isaiah Ford, who has 184 yards on the year. Like, he's not going to make a difference. At least I don't think so. So the teams that have wide receiver needs lost this trade deadline because you look at the other teams that won. Seattle needed a pass rusher. Got him. Pittsburgh needed an inside linebacker. Got him.
Saints needed a
linebacker. Got him. The Ravens needed an edge. They got him. The Bucs needed to fill that void that Vita Vea left. They got McClendon. And the Titans needed another nickel cornerback. Who?
Vita Vea.
He's injured.
Oh, he said left.
And then the Titans got Desmond King. Like, the Packers, they're a good enough team to make the playoffs, but they're not a good enough team to beat the better teams in the playoffs because all they have is Davante Adams on the outside. And
everybody zones in on him.
I love Adam Lazard, and he was playing really well before he got injured, but I don't think Adam Lazard is that game-changing player to be that number 2 to Davante Adams.
Shout out to Marcus Valdez-Scantling, too. He's been playing really good, too.
I mean, he only had that one good game against the 49ers. He hasn't been playing very well.
Another loser is Ryan Kerrigan, too. Guy, he requested a trade, didn't get it, stuck in Washington. He doesn't want to be there anymore. So that's another guy, too, who's a loser.
Yeah, but ultimately, the Packers lost this trade deadline. They should have got more help for Aaron Rodgers. And I just don't get it, Even if it was a second-round pick, I would have done it.
Me too.
Because last year,
if you're in win now, Mo, why wouldn't you do it?
Exactly. Like last year, your second round pick was A.J. Dillon, which you guys, they whiffed on that pick. They could have got a wide receiver. But, you know, if you were going to draft a running back with your second round pick, might as well just trade it for Will Fuller, even if it's a rental. Just try to win now. They're close to winning the Super Bowl, but obviously management and ownership, well, they're owned like by the league. It's weird. But management isn't trying to trade to get Rodgers somehow.
They whiffed this year in the draft. This receiving class was loaded, and they didn't pick a receiver. And they did, that's where they first messed up. And then at the deadline, they don't go and get Will Fuller or even somebody to help out Devontae Adams. So it's gonna bite them at the end.